Homecoming for Lamar Jackson. Baltimore's at Miami Thursday night.
I don't want to spoil the excitement, but is this the easiest game breakdown of the year?
No, because Heath.
Yeah.
Miami allows the fewest fantasy points to wide receivers. How do you feel about that? Flowers, man.
I do not believe it.
It's the truth.
I'm sure it's factually true. I just don't believe they're going to allow the fewest fantasy points to wide receivers this week. I would start Henry, start Lamar, start Zay, start Achane, start Waddle. We're done.
Nah.
Yeah. No, you know what? Honestly, I'm going to put a 5-minute timer on this one because you're right. This is not a game we need to talk about for
5, 3.
I thought I was done.
Well, look, I mean, what do you think about Tua coming off a great game against what was supposed to be a brutal matchup? And also, the last few quarterbacks to face Baltimore have been pretty bad for fantasy. Stafford, 11.3. Caleb Williams, 11.8. Williams probably should have had 2 touchdowns. Missed a couple of but what do you think about Tua, Jamie?
I don't think you should trust Tua, but it wouldn't shock me if he has a 19-point game in that range. So if you're desperate, you can go to Tua, but you're right. The last 2 quarterbacks have not played well against them. Stafford lost his best receiver in the early part of that game, and then Caleb Williams seemed like he had 25 chances to get 2 scores and he didn't. So it wouldn't shock me if he plays well here. I just don't want to buy into Tua having a good game against a defense that seemingly crumbled just before that game and during that game from the Falcons standpoint. So kudos to him. And I do think, to Tua's credit, he needs almost everything to be perfect. And so I saw this going into the game last week. I didn't really give it much credit. Apparently, and this is not applicable to this week, but apparently he's just been awesome in domes in his career. And so, right? Yes. And it was one of the Dolphins writers was suggesting, hey, let's throw out last week the weather in Cleveland, the fact that they're sticking with him. Don't be surprised if Tua bounces back here, and here's why. And it was like all of his games in domes, going back to the national championship game when he came in for Jalen Hurts and won the game in Atlanta, many years ago for Alabama. So he's 6-1 now, I believe, in domes. In any event, there's going to be most likely good weather, I would think, unless there's something, I don't know if the storm's going to impact South Florida, but the weather should be fine Thursday. If that's the case, this defense, I still don't think it's completely fixed where you have to say, I'm sitting guys against them because of it. So I would start Tua over Bo Nix this week, for example.
Whoa. I agree.
We do have a little bit of a cold front coming to South Florida, and it's going to be down to 70 during the game. So I'm not sure if that's warm enough for Tua or not. It's pretty cold in South Florida. No. What's more likely, Tua touchdowns or Tua interceptions?
Tua interceptions.
I could see both of those things happening, but maybe lean toward the interceptions.
Well, Tua made a little bit of an adjustment last week. He got the ball out super quick, which he always does, but it was like turbo. He threw his most amount of screen passes in any game. So
they played with a lot of tempo, and they were pretty smooth overall last week. And the Falcons did some weird stuff on defense. Like, they've got one of the best corners in the league. They lined him up away from Jaylen Waddle for the majority of the game, and they put 2 guys to Waddle's side, and Waddle ended up beating them on an inbreaker for a long catch and run touchdown.
All right, Dave, we're approaching the 5-minute mark here. So
all right, I basically agree with the guys on this one. There are too many other quarterbacks with more upside than Tua, but he wouldn't be bad in DFS. He's going to be good as a number 2 QB in Superflex leagues. The Ravens pass rush is terrible.
Do you guys like Waddle or Flowers better?
Waddle.
Flowers, but close.
Yeah,
okay.
I hadn't really thought about that because I'm just starting both, but I've got Flowers.
I think Lamar has 40 fantasy points in 3 of 4 games in his life against Miami.
Yeah, he destroys them. So, all right, then I have a few more questions. When you talk about Tyrone Tracy, Zonovan Knight, 2 hot waiver wire pickups, would you start either of them over Waddle or Flowers?
I don't think I would.
Nope.
I would start. You said not Zonovan Knight and who?
Tracy.
Tyrone Tracy.
In non-PPR, I would.
Okay, Tracy's got the 49ers. Knight has the Cowboys. All right. So start those guys, and then Andrews. Starters at Mark Andrews.
I would prefer to sit him, but again, wouldn't be surprising when Lamar has a chance to go off that he plays well. So if he's been your starting tight end, congratulations that you're made it this far, but just stick with him.
It's kind of a bad week at tight end. He's top 15, but not top 12.
You'll start Gadsden over him, Kelsey over him, Laporta, Ertz, Pitts. There are too many tight ends.
I would take a chance on Loveland over Andrews this week, assuming Komet's out.
Right, but it's always tough with the Thursday games because we may not know about Komet.
Yep.
By the way, I said Caleb Williams should have had a couple of touchdowns. One of them should have been to Colson Loveland yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb made a great play, scrambling, got the defensive player to commit to him, left
every week
wide open, and he just didn't throw it to him. It was weird.
Nope.
Mark Andrews or Jawan Johnson at the Rams.
Johnson and PPR, Andrews and none.
Half.
Johnson gets the nod.
I think I have Andrews higher, but they are right in the same neighborhood.
Zach Ertz against Seattle or Mark Andrews?
Ertz.
Starter sit the Ravens DST.
Sit.
I've got him top 12.
Low end starter, but I'd like to avoid them. I mean, you're hoping Tua turns the ball over, which he's obviously done quite a bit when he struggled.
You know what? I'm going to say that 2 touchdowns are more likely because this team than 2 interceptions. 9 sacks this year, 4th lowest pressure rate in the NFL for Baltimore.
Yeah, I wrote about that.
A lot of Tua's interceptions don't come when he's under pressure.
That's true too.
Well,
a lot of his touchdowns do.
The fewer players you rush, the more linebackers there are hiding from Tua behind the defensive line.
All right, so you think I'll take 2 touchdowns, you take 2 interceptions, and
probably neither one of us will get either one.
Yeah. All right. That's it for Thursday Night Football.
I already sang the song.
Nah,